Hi, Kate. Hi, Patrick. How are you doing today?
I'm very good, thank you. It's great to talk to you.
Hi,
My
Terrell.
name,
Yeah, it's great.
how you doing? My name is Terrell from Big Go Bell Media. I've been excited all week to talk to you guys about this amazing show that I had the opportunity to watch. Completely blew me away. Every piece of it. Um, it's my first question is, what was it that you wanted to do with the show that you couldn't do in the books?
Oh, that's for you, Patrick.
Oh, Tyrell, thanks very much. I was hoping Kate would answer all the questions. Um, uh, what? That's a really tricky question because obviously I wanted to do the show because I love the books, and when I love the books, as a minimum, I want to change. The biggest change, which you probably know, what have you seen? Have you seen The Tower 2? Have you
Both, yeah,
seen?
both
You've
seasons.
seen both seasons. So the biggest change was making Lizzie Adama, and casting Tahirah Sharif, so that I had a white female detective and a black street cop. It was as simple as that. And that was a change that Kate, bless, she said, if I'd written them today, I would have done the same. That was the biggest change because it just made every single scene loaded in a really complicated way. And it made the job of the actors much more interesting too. Tahirah, Jimmy, Gemma, and Emmett playing Kieran. So that was the biggest change. Otherwise, I have stuck almost religiously close to the books, their characters, their narratives, and so on.
Kate.
Well, I can't really answer the question because I write the books. So, I mean, I'm just really happy with what Patrick's done with them. And I think, I think putting something on the television, it's prose and television are different things. And the stories are told differently. You can't have an internal narrative in television and so on, which obviously you have in books. So I think it's really amazing how Patrick's brought them to life and made them so sort of compelling on the television, and yet remained faithful to the themes of the book and the reasons that I wrote the book. So I'm really pleased with it.
Oh yeah, definitely. Kate, the books, I haven't had a chance to read them, but definitely after watching this, I definitely want to go back and watch them.
That's good.
It's so many things that you guys kind of do in the UK that I would kind of find all here in the US. One, for whatever reason, every cop that enters your home gets a cup of tea. I, I was like, we just that friendly with the local police. But I do see that this is a series, and like I said, I'm very happy that you guys were able to get this second book because that first season, being 3 episodes, I was like, please let there be more. Please let there be more. Then this kind of came out and this surprised me. So I was very happy to know that you guys were able to continue the series. Now, Kate and Patrick, was there kind of a process for you as far as like picking your main characters? What sold you on like you picking your main 3, Lizzie, and everybody in the cast?
Casting was hard. I mean, there's lots of brilliant female. The English insist on calling them actresses. In America, we call them actors. But anyway, female actors. There are lots of brilliant actors there. The casting Gemma was a kind of no-brainer. We wanted someone who was known but not that well known, and Gemma just fitted that character so well, didn't she, Kate?
Yes,
She's kind
absolutely. I had a sort of wish list, and Gemma was on it, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was easy. Casting Tahirah. Tahirah came in very late. We had 2 brilliant other black actors who sort of I was very happy to go with. And then someone said to me, look at this audition that Tahirah had done for another show by my partner's Mammoth. And I looked at her and thought, oh, crikey. So we did a chemistry read, as you call them, with Tahirah and Emmett, because obviously their relationship is really key. It's a young black officer having an affair with a married white officer. So right, if you're not getting chemistry on screen, it's just going to be distasteful almost. So they were just lovely together, really, really great. And so that kind of tipped the game in favor of Tahirah. So that was, once we had those 2, we just felt really, both Kate and I felt really, okay, we've got a chance of making this work. Because with 3 episodes, it's very little. It's here and gone.
Right.
It's like a blink of the eye. Whereas I'm used to much longer series where you have a chance to build an audience, win an audience, it's like, but in England, three and out, you could, and there are many, many, many 3-hour, very good 3-hour series that never come back and never intended to come back. But I really wanted them to come back because I knew how good the books were. They get, in my opinion, the books get better and better. So I was really keen to get, so casting was absolutely key. And in Gemma and Tahirah, I think we just got lucky. Two lovely women, two good actresses.
I think as well, Jimmy and Emmett were just so great. Like Emmett brings something really sort of lively and sexy and correct in terms of the character to the part. And Jimmy's just fantastic. I mean, he's just got so much depth to him. Right. You really know that even in a scene where ostensibly he's not doing much, he's doing so much internally. There's so much going on, and you just sense these depths within him, and that going forward, that character, I've written him, that character develops, and so that's really exciting.
Yeah, definitely perfect casting.
Yeah, and they like each other. I mean, apart from Emmett, no one likes Emmett.
I like Emmett.
No, we love him.
I mean, second season hasn't officially come out yet, but is there something that you potentially wanted to do, but you didn't either have the time or it didn't exist at the book when it was written at the time?
Do you want to take that, Kate? Because that's a good question.
Kind of, what's the question? Is there something that we wanted to do that we couldn't do?
Well, look what the Met was going through when you wrote it in 2014 and what it was going through in 2022.
I mean, I think when I was writing the books, I was commissioned to write more than one book. And I was really keen. There's kind of like different approaches to these things, and different writers tackle them differently, but I didn't want to write the same thing over and over again. And I felt very inspired by some American writing where the characters develop. And I mean, obviously the classic is The Wire, where each season sort of addresses a slightly different issue. Mm-hmm. So I was really keen to do that. And this second one is really about women being victims of crime and women policing when women are victims of crime. And I think Patrick's done really well with that. I think he's brought a little bit of extra story in, which is really appropriate and really contemporary to what's happening in policing in London at the moment. And I feel like Patrick's been, as I say, very faithful to the themes of the novel. So although there are changes, which there have to be, one of the great things about Patrick was that when he spoke to me and said that he wanted to make the books, I asked him, how are you going to adapt them? What are you going to do? And he was really clear about the stories and what the stories were about, and that he wanted to adapt those stories rather than to make it into something completely different. So I feel like the first one is kind of about the nuances of corruption, right, when it's not outright blatant taking money, but it's more covering each other's backs type corruption.
Right.
And the second one is really about my experiences, or drawn from my experiences as a woman, policing those crimes, investigating those crimes, and the complexity of it. And I think Patrick's pulled it off. I think it's great.
Well, it's good. I mean, I had 100, I did more than 100 episodes of Law and Order Special Victims Unit, which was almost all about crimes against women and children. And so I've read encyclopedias of cases. But when I read the second book, it was like, okay, this is written by a policewoman who has investigated both these crimes. And there was just this sort of glow of authenticity to it, which made it, easy is the wrong word, but I knew I was in really good hands, and I could, some of the best scenes in series 2 are actually lifted straight from Kate. And we shouldn't be too nice to each other, Kate. Though.
No, I mean, obviously I don't like Patrick. I'm not.
Yeah, ditto. Yeah, it's like, but anyway, it was fun to do. The only thing that went wrong was I overwrote ferociously, so we cut such a lot. There's so much good stuff lying on the cutting room floor. Anyway, but in the end, though, really happy that we were able to tell a story that felt really, really and feels really timely about violence against women and women investigating violence against women, and how that is a different voice and a different sort of approach. And I was able to put things that weren't quite in the books, speeches, though I hate speeches, but in characters' mouths, saying, you know, these women are not listened, they're not believed, they're not even listened to. And that was like, okay, I think you probably gave me that line, Kate, when we were talking about it. But that, to me, is the key thing.
And I think there's other things in it, isn't there? Like there's the character of that her nickname in the police is Fat Elaine. They call her Fat Elaine. And
oh yeah.
And I mean, I just think I loved writing her. I mean, when I wrote her, I had intended her to do a particular thing in a scene. And as I was writing her, she was just like, I'm not doing that. I don't do that. I'm saying this and I'm saying my piece. And so you get these multiple takes, I think, on women, so that she's a woman in the police who's been sidelined, who has children, but who's a very good detective, and who, given the opportunity, can show that she's a very good detective. But she's funny. You know, she's funny. She's like got oomph about her and so on. So I think there's a thing with Tahirah's character, Lizzie, that she's in this relationship with Kieran, which is that an abusive relationship, or is it a consensual? What's happening in that relationship? She's younger than him. And you have a policewoman talking to a victim of domestic violence. And all of those relationships are sort of very alive, I think. Well, they are for me anyway. When I write it, and also when I policed it, it all felt very rich.
Well, look, Patrick, Kate, I really appreciate you for doing this interview with me today. Amazing. I really cannot wait for that third book to get made. I'm already excited. I'm definitely going to be telling all my friends and family about this series. It is amazing. So
thanks, Terrell.
Thank you.
Thanks
you
so
again.
much. Nice to meet you.
Joe. Great to meet you.
See you.
Bye.